Hello and welcome to the debate. I'm your host, Maqbool, with you at PTV World. In today's show, we're going to be taking a look at the developing story with what is happening in the region, particularly, of course, the aggressive and threatening and uncalled for posture that is coming in from India in the wake of the condemnable and tragic terror attack in Pahalgam, which Pakistan has condemned and expressed condolences over as well. We've seen that in a measure that has been taken with regards to the way that India has responded. Pakistan, of course, has had the National Security Committee meeting yesterday, in which a number of reciprocating measures were decided as per what the current situation is, which included, of course, giving 48 hours time to Indian diplomatic staff, as was given by India as well, closure of the Wagah border, and of course with reference to the Indus Water Treaty, a huge condemnation, the fact that this is going to lead to other bilateral agreements also being shunned, and then of course in the ways in which we're going to be taking this over with reference to trade ties and diplomatic relations. And then, of course, in the ways that this is going to also impact cross-border movement and the visas of people in Pakistan. While, of course, this is an international violation, and the ways that this is happening, Pakistan, of course, has brought forward Indian false propaganda and allegations to different platforms. We've also seen that there has been a briefing of diplomats in Islamabad over the particular issue, with, of course, representatives of the government speaking on international media channels as well, and putting forward Pakistan's own stance and moving forward with the kind of evidence that's also emerging in terms of the kind of false videos that have been put forward by India. And so these baseless allegations and this aggressive posturing is something that Pakistan has responded with responsibility and restraint, and as a sovereign state made it very clear that any false flag operation is going to be met with full preparedness, as was done in the past as well. So we're going to be taking a look at what this developing story means and what is the eventual take of how this is going to unfold, and the ways that we're going to, of course, have to deal with it, and how it is that Pakistan is going to put forward its stance and bring forward the kind of evidence that we have in terms of Indian involvement and state-sponsored terrorism, and of course the false allegations coming in on Pakistan, and then of course the ways it's going to impact not just bilateral engagements but regional and international developments as well. For this and more, as always, in the studios, I've been joined by senior analyst Farrukh Pitafi and Raja Faisal, and we've also been joined online by former Ambassador Mr. G.R. Baluch and the defense analyst, retired Zahid. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us and being a part of the discussion. Ambassador Saab, I'm going to start with you with reference to how you see the particular situation. Of course, we've seen this very aggressive and militant posturing coming in from India, and this reaction that has come almost immediately after the Pahalgam attack, to which Pakistan, of course, has taken very serious reciprocal measures as well. And so, in terms of the way that this very sensitive relationship between two sovereign nations exists, and in the ways that this is a violation of international norms and traditions, particularly in terms of the Indus Water Treaty as well, how do you look at the current situation and the responsive measures that the NSC has decided just yesterday?
Yes, Sana, first of all, I think as has been also expressed, the concern as well as the kind of the loss of lives there. Pakistan itself is a victim of terrorism, so we cannot kind of stand with any terrorist act which could result in the loss of civilian lives. Having said that, as far as Kashmir is concerned, I think it has a long history of violence, state-sponsored violence, and of course the attempts, unfortunately, by the Indian government, especially the BJP, to kind of completely eliminate the identity of Kashmiris by bringing in demographic changes, by bringing in constitutional changes, legal frameworks. So I think there is this groundswell of a resentment against this oppressive regime. So I think it has to be contextualized there. But now, after that regrettable incident, the reaction of India is not strange, because we are used to now this belligerent and this knee-jerk and this uncalculated, irrational reaction of India several times now, under BJP, obviously. The response to the Indian steps taken by after the decision of our Central Security Committee are correct, they are proportionate, and they are not overreaction at all. Now, coming to the implications of the one of the most salient step that India has taken, and that is the revocation of of Indus Water Treaty. I mean, it has a wrong step several levels. If we look at the international law, if we look at humanitarian law, if we look at the environmental considerations, if we look at the bilateral, all of that, India is in violation. In fact, for me, the most egregious aspect of this decision of the Indian government of suspension of Indus Water Treaty is that it kind of constitutes an ecological terrorism. Weaponization of water is hydroterrorism, because with the Indus River system is entire ecosystem of the valley, which starts from the Himalayas going up to the Arabian Sea. There's a whole ecosystem is evolved. So in a way, India has not only threatened Pakistan, but it has threatened the very ecosystem, the natural life which survives and sustains on this Indus Valley, Indus Rivers system. So I think it is very, and it sets a very wrong precedence. If India today has weaponized water just because Pakistan is the lower riparian, it could be replicated in any other part of the world. So some of the predictions, they were being said that the future wars will be water wars. Is it that India is really implementing that pervert concept? It seems to us. But definitely, India is in violation of the law of treaties, which says that you have to keep your treaties. India is in violation of the water law, which says that you cannot do any development which deprives the downstream users of the water. And also, it's a solemn international agreement, which is where the World Bank is a guarantor. So it's not just a bilateral treaty you say that we throw out of the window. No, it's an international obligation. So I think Pakistan will have to take several measures, which we will discuss as we proceed. Yes, Sana.
Faisal, I want your take on this as well, given, of course, we've had the Analysts yesterday. We've had the Senate also passing a unanimous resolution condemning what has happened. We, of course, have had this stance in which we're putting forward what our perspective is, what the current situation is, what the realities are. We've had a briefing with the diplomats, and we discussed in our shows just yesterday as well how that is an important measure that needs to be taken. But I want your take also in terms of the impact that that's creating and the implications, as Ambassador Saab was pointing towards. What does that mean then in terms of the future development that can be expected?
Yes, and now obviously if we look at this whole incident and how it was staged and how it was, of course, propagated by the Indians and the timing of it, of course, it has many dimensions that need to be further explored, because there are many question marks. And in this whole scenario, one thing is for sure, that this incident is being used by India to propagate against Pakistan and to gain geopolitical mileage in the region. And geopolitically speaking, of course, the timing was so crucial that there obviously US Vice President, he was in India, and at the same time what we saw that as soon as Prime Minister Modi landed in Saudi Arabia, that's when it takes place, and they want to obviously explore the further dimensions so that they can do a propaganda against Pakistan and they can get the favors from the Western countries. I mean, this is utter nonsense. The reason being, even if we talk about today, the kind of statements which are coming from various circles from within India, it suggests that they have a lot to do from within themselves. It's a false flag attack. Reason being, one of the member of the parliament who actually came out openly and said that this is a false flag and this was staged by BJP and this was staged by of course BJP's assets within the establishment of India, and of course they want to use it for their own political gains. And now that very member of the parliament is in jail. And if we talk about there were names of people, a couple, they were circulating that they have actually died in this incident. Later on, suddenly they just were declared alive, and they said nothing has happened to us. So maybe more of the names which are being circulated on social media and the kind of smear campaign which is going on the social media, that can be busted as well with the more probe. And that is why Pakistan is of course cautious, is very careful while talking about it, and with the reciprocation which we saw coming from Pakistan side, it is no action at all. It is just to respond whatever India has done. So if they have said that they will be of course heading towards the revocation of Indus Water Treaty, of course Pakistan is ready to call it an act of war. And with that, of course, Pakistan will revocate all of the Simla Accord, and that would mean that Pakistan would have a right and would secure a right to do anything against any of the steps of India. And to me, I think this is such a situation in which the world powers, they need to intervene, and they need to intervene with a positive impact on it. They need to intervene with a probe of this whole incident. And I would recommend that there is another incident that needs to be probed, and that is of Jafar Express, because right after that and the day Jafar Express took place, remember Sana, while we were talking here, while on the media, I mean the very first news and the very first statements which were being aired by any of the media houses, it was the Indian media. Minute to minute, they had even the minutes of whatever was going on in there. Why? Because they were fully intact with BLA, with BLF, with the terrorists. Why? Because they are the ones who are actually investing in these terrorists, and they are facilitators, they are financiers. And after their financings of terrorism in Pakistan, I think Pakistan should seek a probe in that incident as well. Pakistan has the adequate proofs to prove it that India was behind it. It was part of as they always say, defensive offense, and Shastra University, then NSA, Ajit Doval, whatever the claims and whatever the statements he has been making at that time, that is coming true for Pakistan. And to me, I think Pakistan should present its case in a way that Jafar Express as well as this Palgram attack, that needs to, both of them, they need to be probed by United Nations Security Council or any of the relevant authorities, and the team that actually conducts deeply digs into it. They not only should be visiting Palgram, but they should be visiting the Jafar Express incident as well, and all of the evidences which Pakistan is having, of course, that needs to be shared with them, so that we can take India to International Court of Justice, where we can prove that India is behind all of the menace, be it Kashmir, Indian illegally occupied Kashmir, or Balochistan, or obviously northern side of Pakistan. Whatever is taking place in terms of terrorism in the region, the mother of all the evils is India itself.
Right. And Farrukh, I want your take in terms of what is going to be the expectation here when we do that, because while we have, of course, the evidence, and while we have presented that previously as well, there hasn't been any consequence. We have the examples of unilateral action of 2019, but even if we look at the current situation differently, what it is that can be expected from platforms such as the UNSC or the ICJ, is that really going to help us?
Right, Sana. I think it was Faisal's proposal, so he better actually speak later on this matter. I actually wanted to highlight a couple of very interesting things. astounding things that are happening in India. For example, yesterday there was an all-parties conference which was briefed by the Indian government in India, right? And after that, there is a parliamentary affairs minister, Minister of State actually, Kiran Rijiju, who actually spoke to media. And he made a statement that in the briefing, it was also mentioned that there were errors or flaws in security plan, and there was a security failure, right? Then the said minister actually puts out the tweet quoting his own statement, and out of that, those golden words about India's failure are edited out. And Indian media's entirety of Indian media, it is a huge ecosystem, right? Entirety of that actually adheres to that. So what does it speak about transparency, about democracy, about freedom of media? And Faisal has just mentioned about that Assam Assembly member who actually called it a false flag, and he was immediately apprehended. Now this place, Pahalgam, and particularly the area where the attack took place, we have seen visuals coming from Indian media, especially, at least I'm physically incapable of watching an Indian channels for more than 2 minutes. So what happens is that usually whatever appears on Twitter or other similar kind of social media outlets, one looks at that. So their own reporters are showing how difficult that terrain is, how difficult it is to reach that place. And then when the whole thing was started, there was supposed to be security, and there used to be security that was called off, or that wasn't there. Now, another aspect, that Jafar Express linkage is also quite interesting. The guns that were used, according to Indian media, own media, are the same guns that were used in the attack on Jafar Express in Pakistan, right? And that is quite interesting because there are American weapons that were left behind by Afghan security forces as they ditched and they ran. And of course, that was at the time when US was withdrawing from Afghanistan. And those weapons somehow magically appeared in Pakistan. They also magically appeared in India. And what does it tell you about ecosystem of terrorism? Of course, when you talk about false flag, that there's more than one way to look at it. One way would be to actually, stage the whole thing. The other thing, other possibility is to, arrange the circumstances in such a way that the unguarded victims are there, and then you let slip to various people that they are there and they are unprotected. This is exactly what happened during Pulwama also. You actually bait the terrorists to actually come and attack, right? So there seems to be this pattern repeatedly, whether it was a deliberate omission or whether it was stage managed is still to be seen. But I don't think that international media, international bodies will be able to help you. In the end, of course, we have to talk about one thing that is very important, IWT, Indus Water Treaty. And I think that honestly, when you look at Indian politicians and their whatever is coming from there, one realizes that there is this growing sentiment that they might have actually jumped the gun. They might have started something that is really, really going to blow in their faces.
Right.
Do you want me to conclude?
Yes.
Okay.
We're just going to go to General Saab as well, but you can finish your thought.
No, go
All right. General Saab, thank you very much for joining the debate. I want your take also in reference to what is being discussed, of course, with the current situation. And so, given, of course, what Pakistan has responded with, are, as Ambassador Saab earlier was saying, proportionate responses to what has happened. And whatever India may or may not have decided or thought over, it is done now. And so, I want your take in terms of what are the options that exist now in terms of how this goes forward.
You're talking about the options with Pakistan?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay. I think as far as the Pakistan response is concerned, it is little up at the ladder, you know. So we are at least one or two notches up in the response, especially with reference to the Indus Water Treaty. I think Pakistan has declared it as our national vital interest. It has implications as just like the implications of challenge to our sovereignty. It's like as Kashmir is our national vital interest. On the same way, this has been declared as our vital interest. It means that Pakistan will use all the elements of national power which are available at the disposal of the state. All the elements, I'm repeating it. So that is the biggest thing has happened. Then closing the air, I mean, this was another big step. Trade, big step. In the social domain, people-to-people contact, you have cancelled all the visas except Sikhs. So this is the super maneuver. I think Pakistan is at a better, better position as of today. But unfortunately, now it will depend upon how the world reacts to this. Talking of the war at all levels, I think this is going to be a challenge for India. But nothing is, you can't expect good coming from India. As a military man, I will never depend on the intentions of the enemy. I will never try even to evaluate the intentions of the enemy. I will try to evaluate the capacity, capability of the enemy. If they can do that and put their will behind doing that, then I have to mount my response. And in that matter, as far as the military, Pakistan military is concerned, I have no doubt that Pakistan military will match the escalation ladder. Rather, it will go above that. And this we have done it in the past as well, in all domains. Once again, I say in all domains. But one thing is very important. Initiation of a conflict, of a war, is very easy. India has already done that through their proxies. They have been fiddling with the our water distribution. Already they are doing this, and now they have. If they do it, they go with more military options or whatever, fiddling with the water channels or something like that. That will again be a reinitiation of the conflict. Then it is very easy to reinitiate a conflict, but who will end it? That is a big question. Then that choice is there. That choice will not be of India. India will start a conflict, and that will end at the end state, which is desired by Pakistan. So I think these two countries are nuclear countries. We are very important countries in this region. This war will not limit itself between a war between Pakistan and India like Kargil or something like that. Because of this is the war of the future for Pakistan. Pakistan as a state has to decide that how we will do, how we will, operate against a mindset, Hindutva mindset. It's not one Modi. It's a complete mindset. He will be replaced by another Hindutva leader if they come in power again. And secondly, the standards which they are saying they're setting up in India, the standards of the politics, because now the politics in India is also going to be changed. So a lot of rhetoric, a lot of different media, a lot of things are changing. So as a Pakistani, I would like that Pakistani should think about 100 years ahead, 50 years ahead, 25 years ahead, how we are going to cope with this country and we can have a peaceful, stable coexistence, and how we will be solving our major issues. Look, they want two things from Pakistan. One is the capitulation of the policy on Kashmir, and second is the nuclear. And these are the red lines. And now they have added this water. This is again a red line. You can't you can't kill 250 million people. All right. So this is a very, very serious decision. And Pakistan is not keeping anything in grey. It is all in black and white. And Pakistan has the capacity, Pakistan has the capability, and most importantly, Pakistan has will to implement what we have decided. And national leadership of Pakistan will lead this war with the support of this brave military. And inshallah, you will see that things are going to be very good for Pakistan. In this challenge, I have seen an opportunity. I am seeing an opportunity for Pakistan. We must make best out of this opportunity.
Right, absolutely. Ambassador Saab, I want your take on this as well in terms of what lies ahead and then the ways that Pakistan will be able to navigate that, and also comment on the ways that we can actually approach the international platforms and whether or not that is going to help. And then given that this is something that of course is Pakistan to deal with in the neighborhood with a direct impact, and something that we have been talking about for so long with issues since its inception, what then is the way forward in terms of any possibilities of peace in the region?
Yeah, I think that's a distant dream that with the kind of approach that this Indian regime has it seems the peace, a total peace, a amity, a normal life for all the people living in this South Asia. In fact, we are kind of out of 7 billion people, or 1.8 billion people live in South Asia. At least if you look at India and Pakistan, it's 1.6 billion people. So I think it's a very vital and also strategically so important and vital region. I think what options we have, I think we should stand firm as a nation. And I would like to just underline that whatever disagreement we might have it within the country for remodeling or whatever, it is our in-house things, nothing to do with our dispute with India at all. And one should never refer these internal disagreements with the overall conflict that we have with India. It's a kind of, now what India has done is an existential threat to the entire Indus River system. It's not just not the Indus River, which like from point A to point B of Pakistan. It's the entire system one. So what we can do at the international level is to really come up with a proper plan, a diplomatic campaign, which could be taking this first of all, of course, priority-wise. Of course, the forum is the arbitration forum that is normally we resort to when there is a dispute, which is stipulated in the Indus Water Treaty. Number one. Number two, we should go to the UN Security Council. We should go to the General Assembly. In fact, to the Security Council, that it's a new precedent is being kind of set, that the water is being weaponized. Not been done, at least not in the recent history. It is for the first time. So, and also in violation of so many other treaties that I mentioned. I think we should go and ask the Secretary General to have a special envoy to be appointed for the water security in South Asia. Let the UN be the also should get involved. Now, of course, the World Bank is the kind of a guarantor for this, but maybe I think the issue has become much larger. So maybe we might have to ask the Security Council, the UN Secretary General, to appoint a special envoy to make sure that water is not weaponized, that the water remains a part of the common heritage of the human beings all over the world. It's a natural gift to all of us, and there's a natural course that a river has to follow. We must not obstruct it with the intention to deprive a certain people wherever they may be, and especially the lower riparians. So that way, I think we have to ask for that. We have to go to the International Court of Justice. We have to go to the World Bank. We have to activate all the important capitals of the world and our friends. We have to brief them: U.S., China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, whatever it takes. OIC. I think most importantly, I think we have to activate immediately the OIC. We have to activate the SCO. And all other regional forum that we have. We have to just raise our voice. We have to make the world think that how much grave situation this decision, arbitrary decision of India has taken the South Asian region onto the brink of war. So I think we really, and that the survival of not only 200 million people, but the entire ecosystem on the Indus River system is under threat. So imagine if that really they are able to, which they will not be, of course, but God forbid it happens. So if there is a desertification, what will happen to the environment? What will happen to the other animal life and other ecosystem that we had onto the entire course of Indus Valley civilization is going to be threatened in a way, in my view, which is now surviving in the shape of Pakistan. So I think, and also it has been kind of mentioned by one of our leaders, and he's so right that they keep harping back to the Indus Valley civilization and inheritors of that, but they are the very ones who want to sort of threaten that people who are the real waris of that the Indus River civilization. That is, people living
Right,
in
absolutely. Absolutely, I completely understand the sentiment, Ambassador Saab. But Faisal, I'll come to you with reference to what we've been hearing with reference to the kind of rhetoric, the kind of language that we are hearing on Indian media, and you've appeared on a couple of channels as well. And while we're taking a look at what an important diplomatic issue this is with the Indus Water Treaty and the impact that it has on the lives of people, the kind of posturing that is coming in is out of depth and exaggerated, as has always been. But I want your take on what is that creating in terms of the atmosphere and the way that people of India are looking at the situation, and the way that the government is going to now tackle what it has started, and in the ways that we're going to be able to respond to that.
You know, Sana, if we talk about, Hindutva ideology, it's such a hate-filled Hindutva ideology. And along with that, of course, if we have Srivastava group sitting in New Delhi and making sure that whatever the media houses and whatever the news channels are, they are saying what they are being dictated by the Srivastava group. And to them, and the hate-filled ideology of RSS, Hindutva ideology, believe me, they were all thumbs up on this, because हमने पानी बंद कर दिया. Like it's like we are punishing Pakistan with obviously blockading their waters, and we are going to make them starve, and once they will be starving and they will be on their knees, and then we'll dictate them what to do and what not. This is the level of hatred they have towards the Muslims. And during whole this fuss, did you know that the Kashmiri students who are studying in different universities all over India, they are being targeted. One of them is declared dead. There are 6 who are missing, and nobody knows where they are. Maybe they have lost their lives as well. And this is the kind of hatred that is actually being propagated and promoted by the Indian media, and this has been going on. And to me, I think if it was just the politicians, maybe they might have had a sanity, but the establishment of India is making sure that the hate element against the Muslims and against the Kashmiris and against the Pakistanis, it's so well ignited that every individual of India makes sure that he is hating Muslims, he is hating Kashmiris, he is hating the Pakistanis. And in this whole scenario, of course, when Modi ji and his cabinet comes up with these kind of slogans that hum pani band kar denge, will blockade all of the waters that are flowing towards Pakistan, and will make sure that Pakistan is starving, Pakistan is thirsty, and then will show Pakistan what we can do. I think it's it is madness, utter madness. And I'm pretty much sure that World Bank and the people who are part of this treaty, because Pakistan and India are not only the 2 parties to it, there is a third party as well, and that third party is World Bank, and the whole world is watching. And I believe that if there is some sanity in the world, and if there is some sense of responsibility from World Bank, then they need to ensure that before Pakistan goes to International Court of Justice, they as the third party need to intervene.
Right. And Farrukh, I want your take on this as well, given of course the ways that there are certain people who make sense within the Indian population. And we had some good distinguished guests coming in from India as well. But in terms of those voices and the powers that they have, and then with the way that the propaganda is being put forward by the state and then with Indian media, how is it that this is going to be taken by the people of India in general, and in the ways that this posturing is going to add to their perspective of what it is?
Right. Dissenters are everywhere. You know, in every society there might be people who dissent. But the problem is that they might be being held hostage at this moment by the aggressive lobby that is there. Earlier he was talking about Shrivastava Group. Do you know what Shrivastava Group is? It is basically a cover of IB. Not even the raw. The intelligence bureau actually runs it and operates everywhere. So similar kind of things keep on happening, and these are the people who keep on pumping anger, and that is how you control. I mean, controlling a country of 1.4 billion people is not easy. So hatred is the exact ticket, the technique that you can use to control. Of course, it can mutate and it eventually backfires. But as I was saying before I was interrupted, regarding Indian government, the word has it, and I don't have any way to verify it, but there are second thoughts somewhere. And the thoughts are that they might have misread this situation and they might have actually jumped the gun. So there is always a possibility of dismantling this whole situation by actually making it local. For example, there are people who actually murdered these people, right? Find them and punish them, right? And they are within your control territory, they are nowhere else. Then you actually make it a local issue, and eventually you start engaging with Pakistan. There are so many common allies, common friends, from Arabs to China to America and Europe. Use their good offices to start negotiating about certain things. Pakistan has already made an open statement, open offer that we are open to the idea of seeing some evidence coming from New Delhi. If there is some, please present it, right? Eventually then there has to be behind the scene when this situation deflates, then you actually, so far they haven't diverted water, the only things that they have diverted is words. So they can reinstate that and they can walk back from their position. This is how things should have been or could have been done. Whether they will take the same counsel or not, I don't know. But my concern is that these people keep on plunging their own country and our country into crisis after crisis, and it makes no sense. Because in the end, there are two examples already. Gaza was disputed and there was violence and a war went on. And in the end, America said, okay, hand it over to us. Similarly, Ukraine was a disputed, place where war went on. First, Russia has been actually, cutting it up like cake. And now America says that we want your minerals, right? Why do you want to plunge Kashmir into similar kind of situation? It is not a great time to internationalize these issues or to actually create these paradoxes which require somebody else to step in, right? And this is the unfortunate situation India is in, because unfortunately India's power grew in the previous two decades actually preceding Modi ji's rise. And during that time, because mostly it was Congress or Atal Bihari Vajpayee, India used to use some smarter tools to use or exercise their power. Unfortunately, along comes BJP again, and they have got sledgehammer. So no scalpel, only sledgehammer. They know only to break things, and in the end, it is going to backfire. So this is my humble submission. Regarding international media also, yesterday I mentioned that international media also is kind of silent. So somebody actually called me from abroad, somebody from Indian sphere of influence there in American media, I would call it, call her an Indian embed. And she said, why the hell are you actually raising this issue? Now they are pressing us to make more news about it or focus on it. And I said, what is the harm? They said that this is the age of populism. If you actually associate with a minority organization or group, in the end what happens is that you expose yourself to more hatred. So that's why we don't want to do it. Indian government keep on leaning on us to do it, and that is bad news for us.
Right. General Sahab, I also want your take on this, given the sentiment and the value that this sentiment and aggression has as hate mongering. Of course, it has an impact on people, and then add to that with the false propaganda, false allegations, false videos, a lot of this fake content that is coming in. A lot of the people in general don't really understand or know how to navigate false news or fake news, and to understand it differently. And in the ways in which this is shaping opinion within India, or might also shape opinion internationally, I want your take on how do we deal with toning down the sentiment and deal with this hate mongering in a way that allows for facts to slide in.
You know, as I said earlier, Sana, that we are not fighting some human, we are not fighting some machines, we are fighting with the mindset. And this application, this is not a one-day phenomena that they have come out just after an incident, they crafted an incident. So there's a lot of thinking behind this. There's a complete policy, and now they're pursuing it through their coercive means, through their military and all that. Pakistan has to do, to be very honest, the first thing that Pakistan has done, the response which we have mounted is extremely effective. We have declared our lines very clearly, and that will help it. Sometimes you have to escalate to de-escalate. So this is a very good stance that Pakistan has taken. As far as the media is concerned, yes, of course, there is the battle of the narratives. But along with the media, we need to have a superior diplomatic maneuver. That is very, very important. As now we were saying that there was a discussion in your program that we should take this to the, Ambassador Saab was saying we should take this to the, United Nations and other probably courts and all that. Why not our friends? Where is the China? There are other people who will be affected. All those countries who are investing in India, like Saudi Arabia and all that. So we need to have a superior diplomatic maneuver. Yes, we should go to the Security Council, we should go to the United Nations, and if we are not responded as per our requirements or as per our, wishes, then what? So we need to have all the options. If diplomacy is failing, if our friends are not helping, what other options are there? And we need to have the kinetic options ready all the time. These are already ready. One thing which we are missing, and one thing which India is probably not thinking at is, since 2001, this Pakistan military is in the war. This is a battle-hardened military. I have served for 35 years since 2001 till 2024. Once I retired, I remained in the war zone. So every youngster, every Jawan, every pilot, every naval officer, we have been groomed, trained, and brought up in the war. We are the battle-hardened military. And once we talk about what is happening in Middle East, Americans they had 20 years application in Afghanistan. The environment in this region, the war in this region, and the people of this region are different. What is happening in Middle East? That is a genocide. That is not the war. In this area, in this region, these wars will take a new shape, different shape. After 20 years of application, Americans lost their war in Afghanistan. We are the victim of their loss of war. And this war will be quite different. So we should stand by with our, we should stand with high head. We should calm down. We should carve out we should be talking about all the options in all domains. So if one option is failing, we should have the alternatives ready. And as far as these fake news and all that, yes, we need to do a lot of work, because unfortunately the narratives, and especially in the social media domain, on the media and all that debates and all that, in Pakistan we need to groom our nation. because this is the
Right.
future.
Absolutely.
Tool as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Zahid Saab, for joining us and being a part of the debate. Thank you very much, Ambassador Baluch, for joining us and being part of the discussion as well. Thank you, Farrukh. Thank you, Faisal, for joining us in the debate. As always, that's all that we have time for. We'll now see you Monday.